Are you ready to downsize? Join me today as we begin the first of a series of episodes about my personal experiences of moving from a large home in the suburbs to a 29-year-old ranch close to the city. Together we'll discover just how uplifting downsizing can be. Welcome to my new home. Take a good look around because once I get my hands on it, it's never going to look the same. Now, I'm perfectly willing to give up half the living space I had before, but I'm not about to give up the luxury of having a home that I truly love and enjoy. The location is perfect, 10 minutes from the city and within walking distance of local shopping and restaurants. This house is just about half the size of my last home. Small enough that it won't cost me a fortune to maintain, but still large enough to accommodate dinner parties and fun celebrations with friends and family. The rooms are big and open. The ceilings are 11 foot in the living room and 9 foot everywhere else. The only drawback? It needs lots and lots of updating. Nothing has been done since it was built in the 80s. The windows are all bad and they'll have to be replaced. The kitchen and the bathrooms, well, they're way out of date. Even their location isn't good. The kitchen is at one end of the house and the terrace is at the opposite end. Not very conducive for entertaining, do you think? One of the biggest surprises I found after I purchased the home was the attic. Come on, let me show you what I found. Now, this set of pull-down stairs leads to the attic. It's the only access. And when I first came up here, I thought all I had was like this little room. And I thought, this is great space, good place to put holiday decorations. And then I said, what's behind this door? And then I discovered I had all of this. What a great attic. This is like a whole other house up here. You know, I know I'm downsizing, but just think of the potential for storage up here. I love it. Now, the heating and cooling systems are up here, and I know that those are going to have to be brought up to code and updated so they're more energy efficient. But if I could get a regular staircase to access this space so I could carry things up and down instead of that little pull-down stairs, I think I could have a great storage place. But in order to figure this all out and all the things I want to change, I got to get a plan. Now, the first call I made was to Janine Devaney. Now, Janine is an award-winning designer around here, and she's really a space utilization expert. I've worked with Janine on a lot of ASID show houses, and I've always fallen in love with her work. I knew if there was anyone who could make my dream home come true, it was going to be my friend Janine. Hi, sweetie, how you doing?
Hey, Vicki, good to see you again.
Good to see you, too. You know, those dreams I was having were probably more like nightmares instead of dreams. What do you think? Look around here.
Well, I'm hoping to take those dreams and make them a reality. What we are in the process of right now is the demolition phase, which you might consider the nightmare phase, but to me it's very exciting.
I have to admit, I love this stage as well because, you know, once you get the drywall off the walls and you can start to visualize where the rooms really are, then, you know, it's exciting to say, this is going to be where my kitchen is. You know, we had some challenges with this house because the house is actually kind of set up backwards. It has a brick wall in the front of the house with a gate, and it's only accessible by foot. Everybody has to park behind the house, and that's where the garage faces, and then they come up. So as a result of that, all your company really comes to the back of your house, not the front.
Right, and that was the most difficult part of this original floor plan. Is originally you'd move into your garage and access through the dining room, through a hall, finally getting to the kitchen. So what we did with your space plan is we did a flip and we repurposed the rooms. I always say the cheapest way of doing a renovation is change the name of the room, but what we ended up doing is creating a very open plan with a fabulous open kitchen and breakfast room, large living room, and then with the new veranda that's going to be built to the front, which
Let's
is really
take a
the
look at
back.
that. Let's take a look at it, because now I know you're confused as we keep talking front, back. You know, Janine's come up with a deal of you know, we're at Sharon Road and we're at Park side of the houses to try to keep it straight. Now, this is what we have right now.
Originally, the house, it was pretty colonial, built back in the 80s with the finish out and the kind of appointments, but it really still doesn't allow you to have a very gracious front door. So being that this is the back, which is really the front now, creating this new veranda and these French doors, I think will not only give you a sense of a wonderful curb appeal, but also people really want to live to the back of the house. Well, you know, you've got it, and you'll be living in the back of the house.
You know, we're not increasing the footprint of the terrace at all. It's still staying the same size. We're just covering it, adding columns and details, making it more dramatic. And then, of course, these 3 French doors. Now, I helped Janine along this process by sharing with her what I wanted. My last house, as you may remember, because we have done a lot of shows from there, it was a Charleston-style house, 2-story porches, wraparound. This is what I want now, is more of a country French or country European style house, and casual living, but yet at the same time a real feel for the old world. So I shared with her these photographs, a bunch of photographs of interior spaces of the house, and that's what she used to create my vision for me, and I'm thrilled with what she did.
And we've really taken it not just from the architectural standpoint, but bringing that inside with the details of the kitchens and the master bath as well. But it's not just going to be a throwback to the old world, but a refresh of that style.
Yeah, we're not going dark or any of those kind of things. It's going to be very light and airy. Now, I'm standing, you just saw me up in that great attic up there. I am standing in the space that is going to become the stairway to heaven, so to speak, for storage. And, you know, Janine, this was something like when you and I first looked at it, we started months ago looking at this plan. I thought she would run the stairs up the wall, like in the kitchen, back over on the side like that, like tuck them away somewhere. And you said,
well, you have to, when you're planning a stair in an existing structure, you have to think about where you're going to go up the stairs and where you're going to arrive up the stairs. You want to arrive upstairs in the attic at a really high point so that you have head clearance, and you want to descend those stairs and arrive in a location where you want to, like the kitchen, the heart of the home. So this is going to be perfect for taking storage upstairs, or if you ever wanted to create a habitable room upstairs.
Now remember though, I'm downsizing, so I'm not going to be finishing out attic space at any time soon, but I like the idea that it could be. You know, in this side, we're going to have a solid wall here to the living room, so we have more wall space. We're not doing an exposed
And that's
stairs.
actually where the television's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely, right here, and I love that. And let's face it, guys, everybody's got to have a TV. All right, so can't watch For Your Home without it. All right, so now we've got our plans, and usually, like with most people think a designer, you think ASID, of which, of course, Janine is, but Janine's more than that because she is a spatialization expert. She takes it the whole way through all the plans and, you know, every construction, the demo plans, everything, and knows exactly what it's going to look like. So we spend so much time, and you spend so much time, we're not going to have any problem. We're not going to have change orders or anything.
No, my clients don't make physical changes to the space plan. My job is to make sure you know exactly what you're getting on the front end. The change order is not a good word.
Well, I do, and I visualize it in my head, and I am just thrilled with it. So I'm going to go check with Ben, who is our general contractor, and I'm going to see if he's as excited about the plans as I am.
Oh, he is.
Right.
Thank you
Thanks
so much.
Ben Mandan is our project manager here on this big job. He's with Roby Construction. I've worked with him in the past on some of my other houses, but this is probably the biggest project I've ever done with them. Hey, Ben, I love what you've done with the place.
Thanks. Yeah, we've been busy here the last week or so, haven't we?
Yeah, and you're really making a heck of a mess, but I'm excited about it because the walls are coming down. And you know, that's the reason that I wanted Roby to work on this project, because I knew that it was going to be a big project, and I knew that it was going to really have a lot of challenges.
Sure, absolutely, Vicki. This is what we specialize in. We've been in Charlotte for 62 years, and this is what we do every day, getting in these big, beautiful old homes in Charlotte and turning them and making them into new spaces.
Well, I can't wait to see what my new space looks like right now. It looks like I need to do a lot of housekeeping. But
Definitely.
What do you see as some of the biggest challenges that we're going to face on this project?
One of the biggest things we're running into now is the brick, matching the brick. It's always a challenge. This brick's been discontinued for a number of years. So trying to find the right colors, size, shapes, which brings me to the next thing. The windowsills are a bit of a custom thing to get the windowsills made to match what you've got.
Okay, we're going to be we're changing out all the windows and doors in the house, and we're going to take out some windows, and we need extra bricks to fill in those holes. But then we're also making bigger holes, so we're going to have some brick left over.
Sure.
Can we recycle that brick?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we always try to do. It's a lot easier to reuse what you have than that worry of matching it goes away.
Okay, but that's not possible with the window seals because we got bigger windows and not any space to use those.
Correct.
Okay, what will we do there?
We can have them custom made if we need to match. We've done that in the past.
Oh, really? Okay, when you say custom-made bricks, all of a sudden I'm hearing cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Is that pretty expensive?
It's more expensive than just a normal brick that you go into the yard and pick up, but you know, we've worked with a lot of people here in town that can help us out.
Okay, that's great. And because you specialize in that kind of thing, you know the people to go to that can do
Absolutely.
what we need. Let's talk a little bit about codes, because this house is 29 years old. Are we going to have issues on bringing some things up to code?
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime we open up a wall or a ceiling, anything that's in that wall or ceiling needs to be brought up to the new code.
Okay, so there's no such thing as grandfathering once the wall's been opened.
Correct. Yeah, if we left the walls alone, we don't have to mess with what's inside there, but once we open up the drywall or plaster, it needs to be brought up to code.
Well, when I look around here, Ben, I don't think you left any walls closed up, so it probably means the whole house has got to be brought up to code then, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
well, that's to my advantage, though, because it'll be
It
more
is.
energy efficient, safer, better environment altogether. What do you see as some of the other challenges in order to get this project done?
Just making sure all the materials are getting here on time. That's always a challenge with any project, making sure the guys in the field aren't getting held up waiting for cabinets and tile and sinks and faucets and those sort of things. And that's one of my biggest challenges during the project, is making sure the guys can keep moving and the materials here when they need it.
And I know that's something that the homeowner has to really help out with, because I need to make my choices
Sure.
soon enough that we can get the cabinets made, we can get, you know, any bookcases or fixtures in it. And if I don't choose what I want, you can't get it ordered.
Correct.
So it's always a challenge. The other thing that I see as a challenge, and you've only been here working for a week and a half now, but when are you going to be done?
That's always usually the first question, is about a week into the project, everybody wants to know when we're going to be out of here. I'm thinking we've probably got about 16 weeks left on the project to when we're done and you're back in here enjoying your new space.
So does that mean I shouldn't plan to have a big crowd for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I would try to find a friend or a family member to go visit at Thanksgiving and tell them you'll get them here at Christmas.
Okay, well, if you can promise me this job done by Christmas, I'll be a happy homeowner, I'll tell you
Sounds
that.
good to me. That's what we like.
All right, well, I'm going to let you get back to those plans
Okay.
so that you can make sure I'm ready to have Christmas in my new house.
Sounds good. Look forward to it.
Thanks, hon.
Thank you.
As you can tell, we've got a lot of walls coming down in this project. But before you get your heart set on a design plan, you need to check with your structural engineer. Now, this is Matisse Barker, and he's with Seed, and he is our structural engineer. Hey, how you doing today?
Oh, good. Good to see you, Vicki.
What's up with all the crutches today?
Oh, soccer injury.
Oh, you're such an athlete.
Yeah, well, I used to be.
Oh, that's why you got injured, right?
That's correct.
Well, you know, this is such a huge project, and we really appreciate you being involved in it. And so many times our viewers will write in about disaster stories. I never thought that I was going to be living in one of them myself, but based on your report, I am, right?
Well, I wouldn't call it a disaster, but there are some issues with the house that need to be addressed.
Okay, well, let's start right in here, because I mentioned to Janine that I had visited one of my neighbor's house that was the same floor plan, but they had a wall here, and I said, oh, I like mine so much better because there's no wall.
Correct.
She told me that I used to have a wall.
There was a wall here at one time. Unfortunately, when they took the wall out, they did not put a structural beam in to re-support the framing. All the framing in the house spans left to right and would have bared on this wall, which is now gone, and hence you have the cosmetic damage in your ceiling.
Yeah, and you know, when we looked at this house, we looked at it, and with the inspector, we thought there must have been a moisture problem, and the paper and the drywall was turning loose, but
Yeah.
it was really disguising a real structural issue.
Correct. Typically with moisture issues, you're going to see discoloration in your drywall.
Okay.
You're not seeing any discoloration, so it's not a moisture problem. It is a structural element.
Okay, how are we going to fix it?
Basically, I've calculated the load on it. You have some roof bracing that comes down to this area, as well as the ceiling framing for your attic. And I've sized a beam that's going to come in, and we can either install it on top of the joist, or we can actually cut the joist back and basically hang the joist to the side of it.
Okay, so you know that I think that's really important because you said I've sized the beam, and that's what's really important. When you bring an engineer into a project like this, you know they don't only tell you what you need, but they tell you exactly what you're going to need to make it structurally sound going forward.
That's correct. What we do is basically calculate the loads based on the building code. It'll specify the type of live load and dead load that is applied to your ceiling joists, floors, walls,
Everywhere.
all that kind of stuff. Calculate that to determine the size of beam required.
Okay, it would be nice if this was the only issue that you found, but it's not, right? You've got one outside. Let's go take a look at that.
Yes, we did find another one.
Okay, let's take a look at that.
So Vicki, this is the second issue I found with your house.
Out here on the terrace?
That's correct.
What's
You
the
have an
problem?
issue with water draining underneath the house as it falls off the roof under heavy rainstorms.
Oh yeah, I've seen it just come off in sheets because the roof is so steep.
That is correct. And what happens is that water now is draining underneath the house and collecting on your foundation and has eventually caused rot damage in your exterior band.
So it just goes right through the bricks, it's just that porous.
That's correct. Brick is porous, especially the grout joints, and water will seep through it over time.
Okay, so is that what's causing the, I noticed inside in the house there's black mold on the bottom of the drywall once they took the baseboard off.
That is correct.
Is that from this?
Most likely it is a result of the water draining off the roof and entering your foundation and eventually wicking up into your walls.
Oh wow, so the problem that you have on the outside goes down, it affects the foundation that you've got.
That's correct.
And as well as the interior part of your house as well. So you really got to get it fixed. And, but to look at it, it doesn't look like there's any issue going on here at all.
Well, yeah, again, the brick veneer itself is a non-structural element of the house, so you most likely won't see any issues with it, but the actual structure, the framing, can
That's
be
where it is.
compromised.
Okay, now when they change out that plate, are they going to use, what kind of lumber will we use?
Well, I would recommend using pressure-treated lumber.
Okay.
Today's code requires that pressure-treated lumber be in contact with masonry, and non-pressure treated cannot be in contact. And currently, this is non-pressure treated in
They're
contact with
29 years
masonry.
old, so they weren't
That's
using that much of it
correct.
then.
It didn't meet today's
Yeah.
code.
Okay, you told me that we also have an issue over at the garage. What's going on there?
You have another drainage issue that has caused some cracking over the garage entry door. There has been some retrofits performed. They basically installed a slotted drain in the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah, because when it rains, the water does run down those
It
steps.
cascades down. Water is going to follow gravity to the lowest point. That is the lowest point. Unfortunately, their repair didn't carry the water far enough away from the foundation, and it has caused some minor settlement and cracking in your brick veneer.
Okay, so they should have diverted that like a drain spout gets diverted away from the foundation, and that's not being diverted.
That is correct.
Okay, will we have to do any structural repairs over there?
From what I can tell, it doesn't look like it's affected the structure. It has just caused some cosmetic damage to the brick veneer, and that can be repointed to restore its appearance.
All right, but we do have to take care of the drainage issue.
I would recommend addressing all the drainage around the house, especially in this region.
Okay.
All downspouts should be piped away from the house at least 5 to 6 feet.
Wow, that's to keep in mind. Well, I'm going to meet with our landscaper throughout the project, and I'm sure it's something we'll be able to take care of. Thank you so much, and I know this is not going to be your only trip out here.
I
You can
hope
tell by the
not.
way this
Yeah.
house looks, it's going to be a lot. And next
Yes.
time you're back, I hope you're off those crutches.
I hope so.
Thanks, hon.
Thank you.
Landscaping is a big part of this renovation story. The yard is overgrown and needs lots of TLC, just like the house does. It's a big task, and just like the house, you need a professional to assist with a master plan for the landscaping. I met with David Hubbard from Growing Legacy. He's been my gardener for years, and I know I can count on him to create my perfect garden. David, isn't this a perfect setting?
It's beautiful. It's a
You
great
know,
garden.
Well, this is one of the reasons that I wanted to buy this house, is because this rose garden and the lawns and the woods and the big fountain that's over there in the pond, that's all part of a common area that I get to use without having to take care of.
Yeah, it's great. This is a great setting, beautiful, beautiful area.
Well, one of the problems though that I have with the yard at my house is it's so overgrown and out of shape. What do you think we can do with that?
I think some of the plants we can reuse and transplant those. Some of them need to be pruned and removed. And a few of the trees need to be pruned to make room for what's going to be new.
Well, you know what I like in gardens because you've been taking care of my garden for a long time. And I like things that bloom and have, I know they've got a lot of great camellia roses over there. Not enough hydrangeas for me, you know that. I need more of those. But I think that we're going to have to do a whole overhaul with the entire landscape layout because we're going to be putting a new terrace in and a new roof over that area, so I'm sure they're going to really tear up the whole yard.
Right. Well, we're going to have the terrace removed, expand that, have a walkway going to that, as well as another walkway in the front.
Yeah, the frontage part is really important to me because, you know, it used to be that was the way people accessed the house, but then they kind of forgot about it and you couldn't get out the gate to the sidewalk, and I want to open that back up. So you think that's possible?
That'd be great, and have a walkway coming through that gate.
Yeah.
That'd be fantastic.
And have a little fountain there so I
Yeah,
can kind of
yeah.
quieten down the traffic noise.
Right.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
yeah.
We'll leave the majority of that bigger material in place to cut down on the noise and the movement of the traffic.
The vision of it as well. Okay, so I know that you're going to probably have to wait till they're all through with their mess before you can actually do too much. But there's a lot of plants that I think I'd like for us to save that are going to be in their way. How are we going to let those guys in construction know not to mess with the things we want to keep?
We'll tag those and get those out of the way and put those in a staging area prior to any of the heavy construction happening, so those will be out of the way.
Okay,
We
all
can
right, so we
reuse
don't have
them.
to worry about losing those plants.
Sure.
Okay, great. Well, if you'll come up with a design and a plan for me, then we can sit down and we can look at it, and we can look at my budget, we can look at our timeline, and I know that garden over there is going to be just as beautiful as this garden once you get through with it.
Maybe a little more so.
Ah, there you go, a man with an ego, I love it.
That's it.
Now you're probably asking, where am I staying during all of this construction process? Well, I'm sad to say it is not a 5-star luxury hotel. No, for the next 16 weeks, my little world is right behind these doors. Take a look. This was the original wet bar for the house. It is now my temporary kitchen, or at least until they demo it to make room for the new powder room that's going to be located here. I'm using one of the guest rooms as my living room, and the other one, well, that's my bedroom. The corner of this house will be the last area to be demoed. The existing Jack and Jill bathroom, well, they're going to get new tile, new fixtures, and new cabinets. In the 2 bedrooms, we're just talking about cosmetics. New windows, new carpet and paint, and of course, new furniture. This is going to have to do until my house is complete. Well, you've met all the major players in this renovation project today, and you know, they're very talented, and I'm really lucky to have them working on my house. But you know, they can't give me my dream house unless I give them my vision. You know, they want to give me what I want, so I got to tell them what it is. If you're planning a renovation project at your house, whether it's major like this, or maybe you're just making over a particular room, you need to know what's your style, what do you want it to look like? And that's where you want to start. You want to start by developing your style. Now, we all hear terms like contemporary, modern, transitional. What does that really mean? For most of us, those are pretty broad terms. So this is where a picture is worth 1,000 words. You want to start by collecting pictures of things that you love. You know, just look at the feel of it. It may be bigger than what your scale is, it may be smaller, but once you start to collect pictures, you'll start to see that there is a repetitive mission that is going through every one of those images. In this particular case, take a look at what I have here. These are some of the photographs that I shared with Janine out of magazines that I had torn out. See how many times I selected arch top entryways? What does that tell you? I like those. So I want my new French doors to have an arch to them. You'll also notice that these are steel windows. They have dark colored mullions in them. Those are the little details that you're going to start to notice. So now you say, wow, I wanted just 3 French doors, but now I know I want those 3 French doors to have curved tops to them, and if possible, have a metal. And if I can't afford that for the project, then maybe I'll get them wood and paint them a dark color so they look like the metal ones. When you start to look at those pictures that you have collected from all different areas to go along with your project, you're going to see these trends emerge. For example, you're doing your kitchen. You'll look down, and every time you open a kitchen remodeling magazine and you see, oh, I love that kitchen, what's it look like? In my case, it's a white kitchen. I know I've got no business in planning any kind of kitchen that's not a white kitchen. Now, the other thing is look at the little small details. Remember I said don't worry about it if the project is way bigger. I mean, they've got a kitchen that's 20 feet by one direction, 18 by another, and you've got an 8 by 10. What we want to do is get the details. So if you look at the little small edges. Like, for example, what color are the hardwood floors in most of the pictures you tear out? Are they blonde or are they a dark wood? That's going to give you a clue as to what color of floors you want in your house. The countertops, are you drawn to light colored countertops, or are all the pictures you're ripping out dark colored countertops? If they're dark, then there's your answer. That's how you develop your own style and your own vision. You know, you want to create a little scrapbook, so to speak, of your style, and every time you have to go make a major decision, like go to the tile store or to the granite yard or meet with your kitchen designer, you have your little portfolio with you. You have all your pictures, you know what you want. Sit down with them, and don't start by asking them, what do you see for my home? Sit down with them and tell them, this is what I want my home to look like. You'll never be disappointed.
Join me next time on For Your Home when we'll see the new terrace roof take shape, the installation of the new stairs to the attic, and update our heating and cooling system. And I'll give you a tour of my private rose garden and park just across the street. See you next time, right here on For Your Home.
Do you want to know more about the projects today or our guests? Visit us on the web. You're going to find great behind-the-scenes shots, streaming video, project ideas. We even have an e-newsletter with tips and ideas. It's foryourhome.com.